and it's not as empty as it might look, but of course you're not really attempting to refute the Petrov if you play this.
That's for sure. Again,
Interesting, because you normally see c3, bishop c2, and d4 type development here, but Arvind just goes for the very, very symmetrical.
And that's a very concrete reaction. Not these bishop f5, knight d7, and it's just 4 versus 4 and 3 versus 3. But c7, c5?
Yeah, c5 and c6 does look quite comfortable here, because I think you can maybe make an argument that this is like a Rubinstein French, right? Maybe not the Tarrasch French. But in the Tarrasch French, the understanding as I knew it was, if the black knight is on e7, white is a bit better. If it's on f6, you generally tend to be quite healthy, and this is why people play c5 in these positions, I think, with wild abandon.
With wild abandon. h7, h6, that's a move that Viktor Korchnoi hesitated to play because you get in these positions where after knight c6 and there's a pawn takes, there's a bishop takes, you don't want the bishop actually defending the pawn on f2.
That's a very interesting, subtle thing.
Yeah, exactly. So knight c6 came with the inclusion of h6.
I wonder how theoretical this line is, how many games still. Actually,
I can't imagine it
there's
happening.
none in my database that I see here.
I was about to say, I can't imagine them being too many. Now, in this moment...
So this is a pretty old line, right?
No, I think it's a pretty fresh line.
Fresh, with bishop
d3.
f1.
Oh, bishop f1.
Yeah, bishop d3, bishop f1, and it's bishop d3 in general is not that huge of a move against the Petrov, and this is very much.
So I wanted to say, for me, the question is, should I take knight takes d4, bishop to g4? Should I keep the tension with bishop e6 or try to play aggressively?
There was also an option
g4?
of c5, c4.
And finally, a positional approach of c5, c4. He chose none of them.
Yeah.
Remarkable.
He played bishop
bishop
e6, after which...
a3. If you were going to play c4, the inclusion of bishop e6 in a3 might be the encouragement you want.
Yeah.
I'm
now
having
it really does
trouble
feel very comfortable.
Guessing the moves, because I never played Petrov, and hard to understand the subtleties and dynamics in this position. Yeah, bishop g4 looked so intuitive to me.
Exactly. a2, a3, a kind of suggestion that I might be taking on c5, but finally, I just don't see the objection, I would put it like that, to grabbing a little space and just asking what your intention are. Are you going to play g4, g5 and kill me? Are you going to play knight e5 and kill me in the center?
Do you think black will continue playing on the queen side with a6, b5, b4?
I think more like
Depends
rook
on what
e8.
Yeah, we're stable.
Rook e8,
Yeah.
just keep the position stable. Queen b6, trying to provoke white to capture. That would be my approach.
Now I'm also thinking that white's bishop would be very good on g2, but we can't really play g3.
Awkward, that is true. h3, g4?
That's a good idea. That way I get to fianchetto my bishop and keep g3 available for the other bishop.
Exactly. Now again, I feel that if I'm on the black side, I want to play queen b6. I want to put pressure on the pawn on d4 and try to force this resolution, this trade of knights. b3, okay. Now we understand that a3 has a drawback because,
it's a bit of a weak
exactly.
pawn, but
queen a5?
He was feeling uncomfortable with the pawn on c4, and since black didn't play a6 and they can't play b5 now, the pawn is going to get traded.
Quick question, how do we answer queen a5? Where are you going to go?
If I were to go queen d2, am I blundering something?
Perhaps. Knight e4?
I will take it.
Yeah, take on h4. Interesting. What I'm looking at is the move queen a5. I feel compelled, drawn to this move. Taking on b3 and rook c8, that's very, very simple solution, and nothing wrong with it. Knight takes c6.
he
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
included
whoa,
that
whoa, whoa.
move.
Oh, that's a check on
He thought he
e7.
takes it.
yeah. I almost thought I saw his pawn. Takes on c2 is a tempo, but there is knight takes e7 check.
So now black has the backward pawn on c6.
Yep.
Yeah.
Can white take advantage of that? Put in the
I think
rook
black
on
probably
c5.
should have done something different after b3 because it's not going to be much for white, but it's quite pleasant. You want to play rook c1, knight a4. Rook c1 actually blunders the pawn on a3.
Yeah. So let's say rook c8, bishop a6 could be awkward.
Very concrete. Okay, if this works, it's fine, but does it work?
C5.
There's some bishop b5 in between move.
Yeah, that's a little.
But also even sort of simple chess, dc5 and b4 I thought was quite good. Knight a4 immediately is also not bad, but I kind of wanted to straighten my structure out a little bit and ask black a question. Where does the bishop go?
Actually,
Knight
I like
A5.
knight a4. It looks. I didn't notice that move, but now that I see it, it's very nice.
Knight e4, bishop e7, rook e7, then try to play knight d6, knight f5. But these are not very pleasant positions. You have to be quite precise with black now, I think. Maybe I should go g5, knight e4? Is it
G5,
if it works?
knight e4. I like that. I like the dark, keeping the dark square bishops for black so that you could play bishop f6 in the future. Now he
gone
chooses
queen
queen
A5.
a5.
By the way, white has 1 extra minute on the clock.
That is significant.
Definitely.
Queen a5 is a bit awkward for white because now you have this knight on a4. You would very much like to place it on c5, but for that you need the move b4, and that has been ruled out for the time being.
Right. I like queen a5, and it also arrests the rook from sliding over to c1.
We can maybe white can use the e-rook.
Yes.
E-file didn't really open up.
Right. Again, I don't think Vladimir is giving up g5, knight e4. Okay, this is kind of proof positive that
He's committed to
Vladimir's
playing
played
b4.
a very good game.
Yeah, and bishop d7 is maybe has been missed because I think queen d1 was played with a very clear intention of pushing before next move.
Exactly.
And you're still not allowing it with bishop d7.
This is getting a little bit awkward here.
For white.
For
right?
white.
Yeah.
For white,
Yeah.
Yeah, knight has to go to b2 and
You might still be okay, but this has not been the best 3 moves in a row.
Okay. Again, I'm starting to be feeling the
start to play
aggression.
actively with
Yes.
punish white for
Queen
having
b6
knight
for
on
now.
b2.
I'm guessing maybe improving the same ideas in some cases.
f2 can be hanging.
And also meeting before with a5 is very much on his agenda, I think.
Exactly. b4, a5.
Yeah,
Maybe we
definitely.
play before a5, knight d3.
Yeah, I tried to equalize actually.
I'm giving up that pawn very happily, I think, for the
Exactly.
chance to spoil the structure on the other side.
Exactly. I think it's time to pull the parachute here and say, okay, well done. You've made a draw.
Well,
I mean, moves are coming easier for black. I don't even
Exactly.
think it's,
and the time is also equalized now.
yeah. They're both at minute and 20 seconds.
The reason why we like the move b4 followed by knight d3 and trading off the minor pieces is once we see the move a5 and rook b8, start to understand that our queen side is actually really a liability.
Even
It's
though
a
we have
target.
the extra pawn on the queen side.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why we're doing that.
And usually when we have
Knight d3.
isolated pawn positions, it's the target is the isolated pawn. But look, none of the white pieces are even looking at d5.
No,
That's how you know black's done something right.
exactly. And there we see a picture of Duda, but we're going to stay with Vladimir for now. And b4, very good.
Yeah.
Arvind kind of understood that it hasn't
it
gone
was
very
time,
well. Let's swap everything off.
You can maybe play bishop b5 for now.
Bishop b5. I would take on a5.
Queen takes, maybe?
Queen takes.
Yes, sir. Why are you not taking the pawn on b4 that's hanging?
I am taking, and he
Oh, it was-
took on a5.
Because in the end,
Yeah.
there's rook b1 in the end. I'm not sure you can actually win the pawn. Or maybe you can. There's bishop c3 in response. Yeah, very beautiful line.
So how does it go? Bishop takes.
I thought rook
B4.
b1 was winning a piece, but there is bishop c3 there.
Right. So we're looking at bishop takes. I was thinking that you were just going to trade
But then I don't get to play bishop takes f6 because he will take on e8 with the knight.
But I thought
it's still a draw, yeah.
Yeah, I thought you put your bishop on. Oh,
it begins with g5.
Ambitious.
I'm not sure that's a good move.
He's going to go knight e4 now?
Yeah, that has to be the intention.
Yeah.
But f2 is not hanging, so we can go bishop b5, d4.
I like that.
Unless I'm blundering something, but I don't see
no.
exactly what I'm blundering.
Bishop e5, bishop d4, and
This has become quite sharp suddenly, and long time, both players, 30 seconds.
whoa.
Anything can happen now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's desperately trying to calculate what happens after bishop b5, bishop takes b4, because
Bishop
f2
d4?
is... Yeah, but then bishop d4, it seems to my eyes like it's working out for white.
Exactly.
He's going queen a5 instead. Yeah, that's also a very useful move, driving the queen away from the good squares.
Notice how
Queen
Quickly.
fedoseev responded, yeah.
Exactly. Sometimes when you talk about the difference between these top grandmasters, one of the things is you've also got to keep your nerves. When the position is even and both sides are down to 30 seconds each.
Less now, yeah.
Yeah. Now you got to keep calm.
That's
keep
where a
playing.
lot of games are going to be decided. Yeah.
Exactly.
17 seconds for both.
Yeah. H5 is not really.
Bishop
So
f5.
easy to make
Yeah,
mistakes.
he is
here.
really asking white to play bishop b5. I don't quite see why he.
Why hasn't he played it?
Yeah,
Have they found repetition or no? Just
Not
gains
yet.
in time?
Not yet, no.
Bishop
E6.
e5 is still
Now d5,
Very
d4,
good
knight
move.
c3, and yeah, 5, 6.
knight c5.
Queen
Knight
takes b4.
c5.
Before is hanging.
Queen takes
That's
b4,
a
but
free
you
pawn.
get rid of the bishop, and fe6 is not a
That's-
very beautiful move, but you
that's-
are a pawn up now, yeah. And
3 seconds.
Wow, 3 seconds.
it looks like Vladimir is, on this evidence, the calmer of the two on very, very low
Yes.
time.
So far.
But there is
definitely.
rook c8. Some awkward pins, yeah.
Rook f8, I guess.
Knight takes g3.
King f7, bishop b2.
Ooh.
I don't know why we've allowed bishop b7.
Oh, bishop e2 was missed.
It wasn't winning. Rook f8, king g7 was still available, but I think you
It was
play
good
it
for
if you
white.
can. Yeah. Okay, this is now a draw.
Yeah, we have opposite color bishop
He
endgame.
didn't.
with queens.
This is clever. Actually.
Queen
h7
check,
coming
careful.
in. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, that was very good
That
move.
is
I
good, yeah.
missed
That is
bishop
good.
e5. Again, keeping calm, and Vladimir, very, very impressive.
And while
You
we
should take on c7
we'll watch
here.
this
I really
maybe
don't know
until
why
the-
we are
until the end.
doing this to ourselves. Queen
Topalov
takes
is
g3.
much better against Alireza.
Wow.
Oh, wait.
Oh, no.
he blundered.
He blundered
Now Fedosev's winning.
completely.
Yeah. No, this is an experience, I think.
Exactly.
More than anything else.
King
This is just an
g6 and bishop
experience.
g7.
Oh, my
Queen
God.
h8, queen.
Okay.
Clever.
Trick.
Pawn ending was.
And look at
completely
this,
winning,
the
yeah.
march of the king all the way to e4.
Queen
Can you go
f6, I guess,
king
or
d3? Okay. Just take the
just
pawn.
bishop f2 and give squares for the king as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
king
managing
d4.
to set up tricks with 2 seconds on the clock. It's
Remarkable.
absolutely incredible.
Queen e4 check. Finally.
Now it's game over.
Whoo, and very impressive victory. Where shall we go?
All games are finished.
All the games are
Alireza
finished.
lost again.
Wow. But with this victory, Vladimir